Your head'll glow like a freshly mowed Major League
There we
outfield.
go, 10 seconds. Videos are hot.
By Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy.
You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. Officer Eric Anderson, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
Glad to have you with us. Repeat offender Lisa Lewis, Preferred Care, is in the house. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Glad to have you with us as well. Lisa takes care of getting a lot of great guests for us, so we're always glad to have you with us. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The morning after. It was an amazing day yesterday, wasn't it? I know that we spoke quite a bit early on yesterday we spent a lot of time in the opening segment about what was going on in the markets and how so many people were so nervous. I got a lot of calls, especially early when the markets were down 1,100 points. Ow! Yeah, well, they came back a little bit, but now you look at it and the markets this morning, they're up 358 points. So here's the concept. All the people that were understandably shaken yesterday. What's changed? Is today that much of a different day than it was yesterday? Was it that much of a big difference from yesterday to today? I'm going to suggest to you, don't get too high or don't get too low with the stock markets. Unfortunately, I'm just one radio voice here on ESPN and later on in the day, NBC. Where were our elected officials yesterday? What were they talking about?
So I know whose ass to kick.
Unfortunately, they are absolutely useless.
You're absolutely useless.
And I don't care whether it's the President of the United States, his spokespuppet, Josh Earnest, the big mouth from New York, Donald Trump, they're all absolutely useless. Why were they out there so busy pointing fingers when people are worried and when people are scared, instead of getting out there and saying, you know something? This is a normal market event. The markets will go up, the markets will go down, they will correct themselves, and the sun will come up tomorrow. I'm not going to sing it, don't worry. That's what they should have been telling the American people yesterday if they were a true leader. I'm not sure any of them are true leaders. They all want to just, it's like most politicians. All they care about is themselves and getting reelected. There are a few of them that are good out there, but so many of them, they just want that re-election, and these goofuses that are there looking to be president. Now, the only one probably, and I didn't hear him yesterday, the only one that probably would have had a calming voice would have been Ben Carson, because he realizes that this is not brain surgery, right? Just a simple thought. I should have hit my, yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Just a simple thought. He realizes these things. And now we look at people, ironically enough, the calls that I see coming in, the tweets that I see going across Twitter, people are saying, could I buy some stocks at yesterday's prices? When the market was down 1,100, when the market was down 900, when it was rebounding instead of when the market is up 400 or 347 points as I'm sitting here right now? Well, the answer to that question is no, you can't. You should have acted. You should think about this one. I just want to give you a little bit of interesting stuff.
More money, more money, more money.
When Nordstrom has a sale, do people run out of the store? When Macy's has a sale, do they run out of the store? When we get to later in the year when it's Black Friday, are people running out of the stores at that time? I'm going to suggest no, they don't run out of the stores at that time. They run into the stores at that time. In fact, some of the stores on Black Fridays, they have to limit the number of people going in shopping. Yet, when the market had a 5% off sale yesterday, people are scared to death what's happening to our economy. Does that make any sense to you? Is there any logic in that reasoning? The logic would be those like the smart money. They're going in there and saying, you know something, I think I might take a little money out of bonds and put a little bit of money into the stock market when it's down on those days. Days like today when the market's up 355, take a little bit of money out and maybe you're going to put it into bonds. But no, we like to do it the other way. We'd like to sell our stock on the days when the market's down and buy it when the market's up. Again.
So I know whose ass to kick.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. Like right now, you can go and buy housing. Think about this one. Home prices in 20 major U.S. metropolitan areas rose 1% in June, non-seasonally adjusted numbers. Real estate, great place to put your money. Interest rates, yes, China cut their interest rates yesterday. Our Federal Reserve is talking about increasing. Does that make any sense at all? Look what's going on in the bond market right now, the U.S. 10-year Treasury, as we're speaking. It's at 2.11 yield. Germany is at 0.73. That means the world is thinking that Germany is a safer place to put money than in the U.S.? Really? I'd be looking at that U.S. and try and figure that out. It makes sense to me. We see the consumer confidence in July, 101. The geniuses in Wall Street, they were expecting 93. Got it just a little bit off. They're off by 10%. What would we do if the stock market was off by 10%? Single family homes. People are out buying houses. All good stuff. So think about some of these things. Now, I'm not one that's saying that the economy is great. By no stretch of the imagination. If you listen to Ron Siegel Radio, I've said right along that the current administration is wonderful if you are rich and powerful. The middle class, the working people, they're the ones that are getting stiffed by this administration, other than in their rhetoric. They tell you how great they're doing for the middle class. How do you feel? Look at the unemployment numbers, not the U3 garbage they tell you. You look at U6. Same Bureau of Labor and Statistics, 10.8% unemployed or underemployed. Look at the labor participation rate. The worst numbers since the 70s. We know where our economy went after Mr. Carter got out of office, right? Think about it. That's where we are today. The economy is not doing well, but we're not on a cliff. Thank goodness there's only about 15 more months of this administration. If the Federal Reserve wanted to do something to help the American people, they wouldn't be talking about interest rates. It would be very, very simple. They'd be talking about over-regulation. See, they can't stimulate the economy. They're already at a zero interest rate environment. What are they going to do to stimulate? The stimulation would be of small business people. Get the government out of the way and you can stimulate small business. It's simple. But when banks are hiring compliance officers and not loan officers, when every business in the world is wondering what the next regulation is, they don't want to invest money. And then you hear a brain doctor like Hillary Clinton yesterday saying, well, if somebody buys stocks and keeps them for less than 6 years, we're going to tax them at 40% of the profits? Really? Do you think that's going to stimulate people to invest in business? Get real. I mean, I don't know. She must have gone to the Bernie Sanders School of Socialism to be as dumb as that one. I mean, where do you get geniuses like this? Of course, you could go to our wonderful state of confusion right here, and you could talk to the genius in Northern California. They call him Steyer. Talk about another genius. What the heck is his first name? Tom Steyer, I think, is his name. Makes his money, just like George Soros. They make their money in oil, gas, and coal, and then go out there and try and kill those industries after they sell. Does that make any sense? Now, Steyer He told the president he'd give him $150 million in his last election bid if he would go out and kill the economy and deal with this pro-environmental reform measures. Yeah, we had Proposition 39 to increase taxes in California. Another genius here. Clean jobs and energy. Steyer promised it would bring $550 million and create 11,000 jobs a year. What is reality? 1,700 jobs, mostly for consultants and auditors. That's going to add a lot to the economy, right? Where do they come up with these characters? But he had the money, so he put his own money, $150 million, into the president's, I should say, basically, he didn't put the money into he bought the president for $150 million. Just call it what it is. He bought the band, and now the president does whatever Mr. Steyer tells him to do. Unbelievable. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects. I love supporting the police departments and the great work that the officers are doing. We're going to talk about an event coming up. We're going to talk about the mounted police units. Are they for real or are they for show? We're going to talk about that with Officer Eric Anderson when we come back. We're also going to chat about renter's trap. What the heck is a renter's trap? We'll talk about the recent stock market losses. Will the Federal Reserve raise rates? I'll chat about that. Americans are now renting 6 years before they buy their first house. Why would they be doing that? You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990. Comments, Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook. You can tweet me at Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 0186945.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
In these uncertain times, it's getting harder and harder to find a safe and effective method of investing. If you're looking at retirement options that can provide some real security for you and your family, look no further than a reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team. Hundreds of thousands of other Americans are already taking advantage of reverse mortgages. It allows you to eliminate monthly mortgage payments, pay some bills, or simply enjoy your retirement more. A government-insured reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team allows seniors to stay in their home and turn their equity into tax-free cash. To qualify, there are no credit score requirements, and remember, you continue to retain complete ownership of your home. Call 1-800-306-1990 to receive a new special edition handbook, Feature Reverse Mortgage Borrowers, plus an educational brochure absolutely free. Find out more. Call Siegel Lending Team today, 1-800-306-1990. SiegelLendingTeam.com, that's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or 1-800-306-1990.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today brought to you by Commerce for a Cause, one of those great organizations that I just really am pleased to be promoting. I don't have any ownership in the company, no business relationship. Just like to tell you about good opportunities. Commerce for a Cause is one of those great opportunities. If you have a small business or a large business, if you take credit cards, you are paying some sort of a credit card processing fee. Commerce for a Cause will match the fee and give 20% rebate to the charity, nonprofit organization of your choice. That's the part that I like about it the most. Americans are now renting 6 years before buying their first home is the results of a recent study. Wonder why they'd be doing that. Typical first-timers now rent for 6 years before buying a home, according to R.E.A.P, up from 2.6 years in the early 70s, according to a new new analysis by, again, this one comes from Trulia, Zillow, same difference. The median first-time buyer is age 33 in the upper range of the millennial generation, which roughly spans ages 18 to 34. A generation ago, the median first-time buyer was 3 years younger. Why is that happening? Well, the issue here is a real simple one. Number one, we saw what the millennials saw what happened with mom and dad in the real estate, almost 10 years ago now, 8 years ago now. They don't want to get caught up in the same thing. They've also got this misconception that they have to have a great credit score. And they define a great credit score to buy a house. They're defining it, millennials are defining it, as 780 or above. Totally misinformation, not true at all. You can go get, there's loan programs out there with a 500 credit score now. I would suggest there might be other issues you want to do to get your house in order before you use those programs. But yes, they can be done. They're also thinking they've got to put 20% down. There are programs now, 3%, 3.5%, veteran, zero money down, less money than going out and renting. Not all these reasons are legitimate why young people are renting longer. Now, I can understand one of them, because if it was up to me, I would do this one. I'm old, so I don't get to do it. But if I could live with mom and dad for 6 years, not pay any rent, why not? Sounds like a good idea to me. That's the Word on Wealth segment, again, brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Speaking of for a cause, we like to spend Tuesday mornings a little bit, or Tuesdays, sometimes in the morning, sometimes it's not, chatting about various events going on in our communities. Obviously, broadcasting from the Mexican border of the U.S. all the way up to Santa Barbara, I date myself, from the desert to the sea and all of Southern California. That's what we get to talk about. Some people remember that. Some people don't remember it. Lisa's over here shaking her head. I'm not going to say that makes you as old as me, but...
Yeah, I am.
But the beauty of what we get to do is chatting about a lot of our community stuff we do on Tuesdays on Ron Siegel Radio. One of the things, as you know, I am a big proponent of law enforcement. I think that so much of the media right now is a bunch of ignoramuses with and that's the best thing I could say, being that we're on radio, about what they're doing in the chastising of law enforcement. And officer, it's not because you're here, officer, it's because it's what I believe, right? I mean, you guys do a great thing. Every morning you're getting up, and we've got a lot of friends. In fact, I've got some neighbors that are in law enforcement. And before we even get started in our discussion, I just have to say thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate the support.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there saying stupid stuff, and when the chips are down, who are we calling? It's going to be our law enforcement, our firefighters, first responders, and these idiots out there with the other commentary. They've just proven how stupid they are. In my opinion, because I can say it. So, obviously, thank you.
Appreciate the support. Thank you.
But you're in a very specialized area.
I am. I'm fortunate to be willing to say that I actually get paid to go out and ride a horse and do what I love. And my primary assignment is working with the community and community policing team. And
what does community policing team mean?
So the community policing team is our overall objective and role is to improve the quality of life in certain neighborhoods and communities. That can range from a bunch of different topics, but our goal at the end of the day is to make you feel comfortable in your neighborhood or your business area.
You know something, and you have to, it's got to be a big publicity campaign too, because there's, like I say, a lot of these pinheads in the media are trying to portray things a lot different than what it really is.
You're right.
And I can only speak, as a lot of times, I don't know whether it's the uniform that you wear, just, I guess inherently a lot of times young people are intimidated and scared of police officers, firefighters, because they don't know how to communicate with, and they don't realize that police officers are another human being, right? Getting up, going to Starbucks, going and getting a sandwich at Board and Brew or wherever.
Exactly.
And the young people, does it bother you when you go to lunch? I know you're on your off time, and I know it's not even on our questions here, but we have to talk about. But when you go in to get a sandwich at a Board and Brew or a Starbucks coffee or wherever, does it bother you when you have some of the young people come up to chat?
No, it does not. Actually, I enjoy that and I encourage it because it gives me the opportunity to help explain what we do and what our daily duties are, especially as you mentioned with the media and the way it is. A lot of people portray us and had never had any police contact whatsoever, but they see a negative television episode or something that portrays an officer doing the wrong thing, and that's their automatic opinion of us now. So I actually encourage that, and for the people that don't show respect or don't like us, that's their opinion. But then when you talk to them and ask them, well, why is it that you don't have respect for law enforcement or whatever it may be? It's they could say, oh, my friend had a bad episode once, so because of that, I don't like law enforcement. And then I can turn around and say, well, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a waiter. Well, I don't like any waiters because I had a bad experience with a waiter once.
Right.
So once you kind of explain it that way, then they get an understanding of it.
And something, again, one of the commentaries that I make is pretty simple. I mean, I've yet to meet a law enforcement officer that goes out and says, something, I just want to harass people, right? I mean, if they didn't do something stupid, then the conversation would have been, what are you having for lunch? Right? I mean, right. Or can you, in your case, can I pet your horse? Right? I mean, I just look at some of these things, and I heard the news the other day about the lady that said that her kid was such a good kid, yet he had a gun on him and he was aiming at a law enforcement person. Well, to me, that disqualifies him as a good kid. I mean, I'm not judge, jury, execution, or anything. I'm just saying, that's not what the guns were made for, right? And at the end of the day, the thing that I think anyone that supports law enforcement or anybody that works in law enforcement, we kind of all have the same goal, I think, is to watch every law enforcement go home to their family.
You're absolutely right.
Right? I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's tough. It's stressful, not knowing whether or not you're going to make it back home to your family or your kids or your girlfriend or wife, whatever it may be, and especially just the way the world is right now.
Well, it is a crazy thing. So, when you have the mounted unit that you're part of, what is the primary I mean, you see the most common times I see the mounted units, I see at Angel Stadium in the parking lot or at parades. Is that what's the major uses of the mounted unit, the focus?
I'd say overall the major use is crowd control.
Okay.
The reason why we use horses for crowd control situations is, number one, it gives us a higher elevation compared to being on the ground. So we're sitting on horseback, we can see things that officers on the ground cannot see. And not only that is if you line up 10 officers on the ground and you try to push a crowd out of the way, one, some people aren't intimidated of that, and two, what you can do with 10 horses compared to 10 officers on the ground is double that. So what we can do with 10 horses, it would take about 30 or 40 officers to do on the ground.
And something, I would venture to guess, and maybe it's just because of the way I raised my kids, But the best weapon that I think most police officers have is deterrence. Right? I mean, so if you have those 10 officers on horses and nobody has to get off the horse, nobody has to raise their voice, nobody has to use a baton or anything else, isn't that much better, a better method than any others?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it seems to me like that to me is just a no-brainer. Do you end up working as a dispatcher from when you're on the horse back, or do you have to be jumping off the horse to patrol?
Every situation is different. It depends on the circumstance. We'd like to not get off the horse if we have to, but then at the same time, if we need to gain control of a situation or somebody, then we get off. Mind you, these horses that we have are not just your average horse. There's a lot of training that we put into these horses to be able to be calm out in the street and for us to be able to get off the horse on the street and make others safe at the same time.
And the horse not run away.
Exactly.
We're going to talk more with Officer Eric Anderson, Mounted Enforcement Unit Community Policing Team with the Anaheim Police Department. We're going to talk more with him when we come back. We're also going to chat a little bit about the renter's trap, recent stock market losses. What's the Fed going to do? We got all that on the docket still today. You can reach me anytime about anything at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,985. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 4.75% APR, 4.812% of that payment could support a $375,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,985 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's $61,000 worth of home that you're missing out on by waiting. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender licensed under NMLS number 6066 and 217037.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today brought to you by the VIP Hero Program. Do you qualify as one of the heroes for Ron Siegel Radio? It's a pretty extensive list of people that I really admire: military, law enforcement, firefighters, healthcare professionals, first responders, teachers. VIPhero.com. See if you qualify. You might be one of those that can get $5,000 to $10,000 in rebates from the partners with Ron Siegel Radio when you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, refinance a home. And if you want to get out of the renter's trap, that's the idea. That's our topic this morning. National Association of Realtors released their findings of a study in which they studied income growth, housing costs, and changes in the share of renter and owner-occupied households over the past 5 years in metropolitan statistical areas throughout the U.S. Holy cow, that's way too much studying for me. Don't become trapped is the bottom line. Study revealed over the last 5 years a typical rent rose 15%, while the income of renters grew by only 11%. If you're currently renting, not the side that you want to be on. The average renter in the United States pays 30% of their income on housing compared to that of a homeowner who spends 15% of their income on housing. Seems like that's a no-brainer too. Bottom line, don't get caught. It becomes very easy to go and say, you know something, I'm just going to rent this property because I don't want to spend all the time that it's going to take to get a loan, probably about 5 or 6 of your hours. I don't want to go and spend all the time going out with real estate professionals to find that property that you want to live in. Yeah, that might take a little bit of your time instead of going to the beach on the weekend. But what's it going to be over the long term? What's it going to mean for your family? We know that household net worth is about 34 times the size if you own a home as opposed to rent a home. 34%, that's a pretty big number. 34 times, not 34%, 34 times the size. Get out there, buy your house. For most people, if you don't know if it's right for you, give me a call. Be happy to go over the numbers with you, see what makes sense for you, for your situation. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again brought to you by the Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero program. Continuing our conversation this morning with Officer Eric Anderson. He is with the Mounted Enforcement Unit Community Policing Team. Hope you don't have to write that very often.
No, luckily I don't.
Here's my business card. It tells you what I do. Holy cow. That's a lot of stuff. Anaheim Police Department. How long have you been in policing?
Community policing itself, it's been just about a year this calendar date.
And law enforcement overall?
10 years.
10 years. So do you like what you're doing?
I do. I truly do. And in this passion, you have to. I truly enjoy, putting on the uniform every day and shining my boots and looking professional and just really going out and helping people. I came from a family of community service, and that's what I signed up for this job, is to help people.
Yes, I mean, and that's a great comment right there, because there's so many people that don't realize that is the main mission of policing, right? I mean, it's not about all this garbage that we see in the news. It's about going out and helping people, and a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with crime, does it?
Actually, you'd be surprised. Yeah, no, a lot of it does. And let's face it, the public doesn't call the police to tell us the good things that happen.
Right.
And they're calling us because something bad happened and they need some assistance. So, it's in community policing itself. I get a true joy and aspiration out of it, because you feel like you've helped someone, and it's more rewarding because people come to you with their problems, and then when you help solve their problems, they're more appreciative compared to a patrol call where it's just something negative has happened and you can't really do much, as where I can.
Yeah, and you're representing, I guess every law enforcement officer, they represent their department, but they represent the community of officers as well.
Absolutely. When I put on this uniform every day, I'm definitely representing the Anaheim Police Department as a whole in the city of Anaheim.
You were telling me before we went on that you and some of the other officers went over to Chalk and at Chalk Hospital. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I'd love to. So a couple months ago, the members of the Mounted Unit and some command staff and Chief Quezada had gone over to Children's Hospital of Orange County, and the purpose of this was to pay a visit to the children at Chalk and visit them at bedside. And it was a great experience because it gives you a different perspective, right? When you think you're having a bad day with something going on in your life and you go visit a sick child who can't make a decision on why they're there. They're there for their obvious reasons, but it puts you back and makes you appreciate what you have in life and where you at in your life. And what we did is we passed out a bunch of stuffed animal plush horses to them and visited them at bedside and really got to know them on a personal level and take pictures with them and kind of explained what we do with the mounted unit.
But it made their day. I mean, obviously, at any age, being in the hospital is not fun. I mean, I guess there's only one time you go to the hospital that's pleasant, right? I mean, at least I can say 3 times I went to the hospital as pleasant. It's when my wife was giving birth. But I mean, other than that, for the most part, going to the hospital isn't pleasant. If you're a child, I mean, as an adult, we don't understand a lot of these things. As a child, you understand even less. So with you and your team going there, it might have been a bright spot that they could at least say, something. Hey, we got visitors today.
Absolutely, yeah. It was, like I said, it was an amazing experience, and to look over and to see my counterparts, shedding tears, in a uniform, just because of the quick relationships that they were building with these kids was just an amazing thing.
The macho officers shedding tears. Right. I mean, but you hear that all the time, right? I mean, we hear about, unfortunately, we don't hear enough about that from the police. We don't hear about all the great things that they're doing because that's not what sells on media. I can point at my own industry because I'm part of the media, but that's not really for the whole. People aren't reporting that. You hear the athletes going over to chalk, and they say that it was more special. They believe that they got more out of it than the kids did, and you can only imagine what the kids got.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it's just an unbelievable thing, and I'm glad that we've got the platform to talk about it. Tell us a little bit more about the horses, because before we went to break, you were talking a little bit about the training that the horses go under, that it's not, just put a saddle on and as the old John Wayne movies, let's saddle up, or however they put it.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of people don't realize, they think that, just throw the saddle on, the horse's back, and get off and go. But our horses, actually, once they're purchased, we send them through a significant amount of training, and we train every month with them, and we put them through situations and scenarios that people wouldn't think of. None of them are harmful. However, we do it so that way when we're out in the public, if something were to happen, we can be safe on them, and they can also be safe. And then once they're done with their training, and we figured out it would be a good fit for our unit, we actually send them to a school, and it's a statewide school. And upon completion of the school, they're actually a certified police officer. So when we're out in the street, they actually have a badge that they wear on their front chest that signifies them of being a police officer.
Interesting. I'd hate to see what kind of orders they give. I wouldn't understand. I couldn't comply.
If I could just get my horse to learn how to write reports, I think I'd be out of a job.
Well, maybe a problem with the pen.
There you go.
Today's technology, it might be. So they're actually considered a officer. Do they, just from a, I'll do a financial show, I'll also ask you some of the financial questions. Do they have retirement and medical benefits and things like that, or does that have to come out of, where does that money come from?
It's funny you ask. We're actually continuing to engage in sponsorships and to help fund this through nonprofit organizations to help fund the medical care costs of the horses. As you can imagine, the medical care costs are expensive. The horses get new shoes on their feet about every 4 to 6 weeks.
God, I wish I could get my wife to hold off that long.
And then also, different shots and other health concerns and just equipment alone. So, we do, want to get the public to know about this through our Anaheim Community Foundation. And if you're an animal lover or horse lover, a lot of times people spend money on their animals before they would their own sibling or loved one. So it works out.
How often do you spend your time with the same horse all the time, or is it do you just grab the first one that you come to?
I actually spend the time with my own horse. The reason being is my horse knows me on a personal level. It's almost like a child. It knows, as a parent, it knows what it could get away with and what it can't get away with. Compared to if someone else rides him, it may test him like a child would with another parent or another aunt, uncle. Or
so you want predictability every time.
Absolutely.
Interesting, because it is an animal, right? I mean, the bottom line is it's an animal, and
1,000-pound animal at that.
Right. And if you're in a tough situation, you want to be able to predict exactly what he's going to do. He wants to predict exactly what you're going to do. If you have to jump off the horse, as you were talking about earlier, you don't want him to start running around because someone can get hurt.
You're absolutely right.
Amazing. It's so fascinating, all the training that the police officers and I guess you could put it, the police officers and the human and non-human police officers, from what you said, because the horses are not considered, they're not human, I don't think, but they are considered police officers. The dogs are considered police officers as well, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
So, I mean, you have to, do the dogs and the horses get along?
It's all personality based. So some dogs do not like the horses and some don't mind it. Some look at it as a bigger dog. We've done some training together and incorporated the dogs with it, and they haven't had any problems. Interesting.
We're going to talk more. There's a big event coming up. We've mentioned it a little bit, but we're going to talk in depth about this event that's coming up when we come back. You'd think it would be a horse show, but they're going to call it a car show. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We're going to also talk about recent market losses. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL number 018694552.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. you still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at siegellendingteam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
Visit a participating Burger King and save $30 on adult single-day admission to SeaWorld, plus a second visit free. Be inspired to care for marine animals at SeaWorld San Diego.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Now, it really isn't fair when you're the host of the show and you come right back live and everyone else in the studio is laughing and you can't. It's a challenging job, but somebody's got to do it. Trying to get us cracked up here, Lisa. I can't believe you did that to me. Mortgage Minute today brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. Every one of them are wrong. That's why I know yours is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer. They can solve the problem for you, at least help you get on the right path. Recent stock market loss has caused many to doubt that the Fed will raise rates. I've been telling you that right along. The Fed will not raise rates. Why would they want to raise the rates? Is our economy so great? I doubt it. Talked about that in the opening segment today. We've seen that now on what's been going on in the world markets. I see that last night, or actually after the markets closed in China, they lowered their interest rate. We are very, very dependent now on China. Ask Mr. Trump, he can tell you all about it. He's an expert, he's a genius. Just ask him, he'll tell you. But with the Fed, I've shared this with you before. The Fed, all they need to do if they want to really help our economy is if they can tell the government, the administration, that, hey, you know something? Monetary policy is great if you get out of our way and get rid of the fiscal restraints. The Environmental Protection Agency, just close them down. That'd be a good one. A lot of other areas, the economy will do fine on its own. Business people will find a way to do things if they're not constrained by over-regulation. And that would be a problem because, you know, the president has his pen and he likes to use it. Too bad he doesn't have a constitution and use that. That is the Mortgage Minute, again brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. Continuing our conversation this morning, Officer Eric Anderson is in the house, Anaheim Police Department, and a lot of other accolades on his card. We've talked about that. Lisa Lewis is in the house. Haven't even had a chance to talk this morning.
That's okay.
Other than to give us some good humor coming back from break. And I don't know why you don't even want to share that with everybody.
That's okay. Thank you.
So, Officer Anderson, I've got a few questions. Then we want to talk about this big event. Are you riding Clydesdales?
We're actually quarter horses.
Quarter horses?
What we use, yeah. We found that quarter horses, for what we use them for, are best options. Obviously, it's kind of like everybody else. With their parents, with their kids, they think their kid's the best compared to others. So, a lot of people think and have their own opinions on certain horses. But we found here at Anaheim that the quarter horses are our best match that we can use.
And is that something that is standard in law enforcement, that most departments use quarter horses, or is that just something that Anaheim has found the best fit for our needs?
I would say the most popular is quarter horse, and the reason being is a quarter horse is your typical all-around ranch horse. So whatever you ask your horse to do, it's very responsive. So, and you flip the side to it here in law enforcement, if we ask our horses to do something or go somewhere that they may not be comfortable with because it's a wild animal, that we can get a better response out of it.
Interesting. So what are the horses doing all day long when you're not out at an event or a crowd control? Are there other duties? I mean, do you go and show them, or go horseback riding in Catalina or something?
Although that would be nice, we don't do that. But we do, as you mentioned, and you've seen horses at Honda's the Honda Center, Angel Stadium. So we do certain events at those venues to keep the public safe, to enforce certain laws and Anaheim Municipal Code violations. And then we also target certain neighborhoods and areas as well. So if we see crime on the rise in a certain area of town, then we'll put the horses out there. It's just something similar as you see like a bicycle officer. Same concept. The only difference is we're on horseback.
And you know something? It's amazing that you do that, because obviously if you're on horseback, you've got significant less protection than having a car around you.
Yeah, we definitely stand out. There's no doubt.
Wow, I mean, that's interesting. Let's talk about the event that's coming up Sunday, August 30th. It's this weekend.
It is this Sunday. I'm really excited about it.
Tell us about it. I mean, you've worked hard, apparently. I mean, from what you shared, there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on. So this Sunday, August 30th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ronald Reagan Park in Anaheim Hills. It's 945 South Weir Canyon Road. The Anaheim Police Department and the Mounted Unit are hosting a charity car show with proceeds benefiting Children's Hospital of Orange County, and then also to benefit the medical care costs of our horses. We'll have anything there from exotic, classic cars, trucks, off-road vehicles, motorcycles, and even drag boats. And then police demonstrations and music, face painting, and food trucks.
Okay, so I've heard all of this stuff going on at the park. How are you making money at it?
So what we do is we charge a $35 registration fee. So if you want to bring in any one of your vehicles, you charge a $35 registration fee. So that money, as well into money from the food truck vendors that they donate back to the charity, as well as some sales of merchandise, will come back to this nonprofit organizations.
Interesting. And is there a way that, I don't have a classic car, I don't have a motorcycle, an off-road vehicle, I don't have any of that exotic stuff. How can I donate?
You can donate by either contacting me at 714 area code 765-1106, and also the Anaheim Community Foundation, and we can work that out for you.
So you'll be able to figure out how we can donate.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to make sure that we get that information put on Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook, just because, as I'm sure you can well attest, if somebody's driving, we don't want them to be writing down the phone number.
Absolutely.
No tickets for anybody, no accidents for anybody, more importantly than the ticket. I mean, the ticket is a byproduct. We don't want anybody getting in an accident or getting hurt. So we're going to see if we can get the information for the event and how you can donate right there on Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook. There's also, I think I saw, there's an update page on Facebook for the event as well, I see on here. So search for the Anaheim Police Officers event.
Yeah, you can like us on Facebook, Anaheim Police Mounted Unit Car Show.
Okay.
Have some further updates. And then also, this is free to the public. So although there is a registration fee for the vehicles, it is free for the public. It's a family fun zone. We'll have stuff for kids, a bunch of different activities, live music, and it's a great day to get out of the house and come look at some cars and enjoy some entertainment.
And I would say get there early, because it's supposed to be pretty warm.
It is. It's supposed to be warm. We'll have some easy up set up, and be selling some cold refreshment drinks as well to stay cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And are the horses going to be there also?
The horses will be there. We'll be putting on a demonstration to show how and what we use the horses for, and then also we'll have like a social media booth where we can allow people and kids to come take photos with the horses and throw on our little cowboy get up like we wear.
Okay, so we've got John Wayne there on the horse.
Exactly.
It sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm going to just suggest that, take a look at police and law enforcement in a whole different light. This is a great event. It's showing you that it's very interesting. I love one of the things that just came to mind as we're talking about this. We live in an entitlement society, unfortunately, anymore. And when you start seeing that, you've taken on this task of going and raising funds for Chalk Hospital and then the Mounted Unit, it'd be so easy to say that it's somebody else's responsibility to take care of the horses. It'd be real simple. And it just shows the character of the men and women that are in law enforcement, yourself and your colleagues, going out there and saying, something, we want to raise money. We don't want to take taxpayer dollars to go and buy horses to bring to kids. And it'd be easy to do that, right? I mean, there's all kinds of different funds for that to do it. And the initiative that comes from the members of law enforcement, I'm just glad that ESPN is giving it. It's funny. Steve's telling us it's raining in San Diego, right? It doesn't rain in San Diego, Steve. It can't be raining down there. But it just goes out there just to show you the perception. And I'm glad, like I started to say, I'm glad that ESPN gives us the opportunity, and in the afternoon that NBC gives us the opportunity just to say thanks for what you're doing and having a good time. I mean, I know my son was afraid of police. He's 20 years old, has some special needs, but he's afraid because he didn't know better, right? And here's an opportunity to go out in a good time, good environment, in the park, having fun, and meet the police officers, get a picture maybe by the horses, seeing what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that we found is, this is a big community engagement event for us as well. And Chief Quesada and our command staff is very big on that philosophy and community engagement. And we have found that, if someone sees an officer in public, in their police car or outside of their police car, they may be timid to come up and start a conversation with them or to ask them about their police car or their equipment that they wear. But if you throw a horse out there, a police horse, and an officer, or you throw an officer with a canine or a motorcycle, people are intrigued to that. They're interested. They want to know more about that. So that's one positive thing as well as with this mounted unit is we can engage the community in a further way that others may not be able to.
And kids love horses.
Kids, yeah. Who doesn't love horses?
Who doesn't love? Exactly. Well, come on out August 30th at Ronald Reagan Park. Say hello. And be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. That's all for us. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And remember my motto, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
XAPN 700 AM Kitakyat Batalik Anak.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700.
Surf's up. Prices are down at the Honda